I remember those days when we had activism and organizations, but everything was always ad hoc, meaning that we'd have a crisis, we'd come together. We never thought about having, organizations that lived beyond a police shooting or something that happened in the community. And a grant, by the way, of $800 or $1,000 was
big money.
It was big money, and it got us through, you know. And then the 80s came, and when the 90s happened, I think that's when our social justice movement really matured. Community Coalition was started in 1990, and I remember getting a grant from Liberty Hill. You and I came in contact, and you were my mentor in helping me figure out what to do with the coalition. You remember that?
I do, yes. I knew about Liberty Hill before I came to California in the late 80s. I knew about this amazing social justice organization that we wish we had some of in New York. And so when I came here, I wanted to connect to Liberty Hill, and I did go and meet with Michelle down in the basement under the bookstore.
Oh, yeah.
On the promenade.
I remember that. Wow.
Yes. There was always playing with that idea of how do we sustain this. And the Black Women's Health Project, 1992, we organized this conference at UCLA. And of course, we started planning it. But April 29th happened.
April 29th, 1992, the civil unrest.
Yeah, I think that's when I really consciously made an effort to reach out, and things were so busy.
Prior to that, there was no place to get funding except for Liberty Hill. Not to do social justice work.
Well, I think that's true. We were trying to get money from Liberty Hill in New York.
And they said you're a little bit ways from
right.
California.
Yeah.
Well, that was an opening in that time period where foundations opened up to progressive folks being on their staff. And that was a real opening, because once you went to the foundation and then a few other folks went to different foundations, that coincided with us being able to diversify our funding base. And Liberty Hill, of course, was growing at the same time. So those $800 grants grew to several $1,000s. And then I remember when Liberty Hill reached the point where they gave a $10,000 grant. And that was awesome. A big milestone, during that time, and was a significant...
At the Wellness Foundation, it was when the feds yanked your funding, which brings us to a very contemporary moment of possibility, that there's going to be a lot of funding loss.
I've been thinking a lot about that because the earthquake that happened, on Tuesday with the election. But I remember feeling this bad when Newt Gingrich took over the Republican Party, and he had the contract on America. We refused to call it the contract with America. It was on America, because it was attacking all of the institutions that were important to us. And it was the first time the Republicans took over Congress in 40 years. And of course, a few months after that, we lost our funding, but then Liberty Hill was there again and made sure that we made it over that hump. As a matter of fact, one of the roles Liberty Hill has played over the years is a convening role. So I'm going to ask Liberty Hill to do that again in figuring out what in the world do we do now in a Trump era. Liberty Hill has been viewed neutral enough by the social justice organizations, where the organizations have called on Liberty Hill to convene everyone.
Well, I think that we ought to honor Liberty Hill's role in making it safe to raise these questions. Right. It was a model. Liberty Hill became a model.
One of the things I do now, when young people come to me and say, well, I want to get involved, how do I get involved? I always tell them, go to Liberty Hill's website, because if you look at the projects Liberty Hill funds, you can get a sense of the social justice movement in LA.
Right.
So, go there, and then if any of the organization interests you, contact them.
And I get a lot of requests from people who want to start nonprofits, and I say, why?
Yeah, right.
So why don't you just go to Liberty Hill's website? I'm sure you'll find one. And you could join that organization and support them, and then if you really feel there's still a need for another nonprofit,
right,
and you understand what it takes to run a nonprofit,
right, exactly.
Then, Liberty Hill is like the rock.